Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the West Virginia Grill Billy. Today we're going to be doing a brisket. This is a 10-pound beef brisket that I picked up at a local butcher. He does all this stuff himself. This beef was locally grown at a farm just a few miles from my house. So I'm really excited to try this. The beef looks really good to come off of this butcher, so I'm excited to try it. And I encourage you guys to get out and support your local people. This guy's a local butcher. He lives right here close to me. It's a private business. He's supporting the local farm that's growing the beef. So I want to encourage you guys, especially right now the way our country is, get out there and support your local people and help them make a living. But let's get right into it. Today we're going to do a brisket. We're going to season it. We're going to do a layer of SPG, and then we're going to do a layer of this Harry So's Pitmaster rub. I really like this stuff. I haven't used it a lot here recently because it's mainly really good on beef. So I'm excited to put it on this brisket today. And we're going to be cooking on the Pit Boss, about 250. I got the temperature set at 250, so we're going to do a low and slow. I'm hoping this should be done in 8 to 10 hours. So that's the plan for today. And you know, guys, they can get out there barbecuing. Plans don't always come together like you want. You got to be flexible. You got to be patient. You got to cook it according to how the meat gets done, not to a certain temperature. So we're going to be cooking this, and we're going to be probing it at the end for tenderness and letting the meat telling us when it's ready to come off, and not the temperature probe. So first, let's get started seasoning. I'm going to put a layer of SPG on there. Not a crazy heavy lot, just a little bit. Let's get the side here. This thing's kind of heavy. Big old beef brisket. Had a lot of fat on it. I already trimmed it. I believe I covered trimming a brisket in the last video I did, so if you need to check up on that, you can check that video out. But I had a little bit of trimming to do on this. Had like a lot of fat on it, which is a good thing. Fat in this is going to render down and it's going to render down and get that flavor in that beef. But you don't want too much fat on a brisket. If you guys haven't ever done before, briskets they have a lot of hard, thick layered fat on them. And you want to make sure you trim that down. The fat side you want down to about 1/4 inch of fat, because if it's any thicker than that, it's just not going to render down into the meat. And it's going to taste spongy, and it's not going to get done right, and you're not going to be happy with the results of your brisket. So we'll pat this down a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is, more here, some up here. Make sure we get the edges real good. There we go. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do is we're going to let this set for just a few minutes and sweat a little bit. Let that rub stick to the meat and let it draw some of the moisture out before we flip it over. That way we'll build us a good bark while we're smoking it today. So we'll let this sit a few minutes and we'll coat the other side. All right guys, we've let it sit for a few minutes, and I hope you guys can tell how it's changed colors a little bit. That brisket rub has stuck. And now it's not, you see it don't come off, it's stuck to it. So that's what you want. You want as much rub as it can to stay on your meat, so it'll make that good bark. Now let's just flip her over. flip it over. We'll season this side, same way as we did the other side, and we'll get her thrown on the pit balls here in just a minute. Running my pit balls at 250, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm using Competition Blend pellets today. Competition Blend is just a mix of hardwood pellets. Really good. I love the smell of the smoke when that pit balls is going with that Competition Blend in there. Go get the sides real good. Man, I can't wait to taste this brisket tonight. There's something about farm raised beef from local farmers. Is ready to try it. Good coating on there. All right. There we go. Now let's get her outside and get her on the pit boss, and we'll get her cooking. Okay, got the pit boss here. Pit boss is running right at 245, 250 on the analog thermometer here. My digital reading down here is 240. I don't know about you guys, but my pit boss, when I have it set at about 250, it wants to hang out about 240. Now what I'm going to do is I'll put this brisket with the point end up here on this side. The burner for these pit bosses is right underneath, kind of a little left of center. So the majority of your heat is on the left-hand side. Get that pushed up nice and tight there. Yeah, the majority of your meat's on the left-hand side. Scrape off some of this rub with it. All the rub I can on there. And the point is thicker than the flat. So you want the most of your, the hotter part where your heat's coming into your grill or your smoker, whatever kind of smoker you're using, your heat source, you want to put the point near your heat source because it's thicker and it's got more fat content that will render down through your cook. So you want to put this thick side next to the heat so it'll cook evenly and the fat will render down. So let's get this closed. We'll let her hang out. I'm not going to touch this thing for probably 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. A lot of people will come out and they'll spray it down with apple cider vinegar or apple juice to try to increase the bark. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit. It's at the perfect temperature, 240, 250, for that fat to render down. And we're going to let it just sit in there and let the smoke do its thing and let it build its bark on its own for about 4 or 5 hours. Then we'll come out and we'll check it and we'll probably wrap it and put it back in for the remainder of the cook. So we're going to let her hang out and we'll see you then. All right guys, it's been about 5 hours. Got our brisket here, got a nice bark on it. You see the juices pulled up on it. This is something I did to get a little additional smoke. I got some charcoal with some wood blocks in it. I started this end over here to get a little extra smoke for a little while, but what we're going to do is I'm going to take this brisket, put it right here on my pan, and we'll go inside and wrap it up. So we'll catch you then. Okay, brought it inside. Sorry guys, it is rainy and windy outside, and we had to try to get that quick without blowing us everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I got this in foil. I'm going to hold all this up. Make kind of a little boat here, and I'm going to take a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, pour it over, and then I'm going to pour some soy sauce, probably just a couple tablespoons, about 3 tablespoons of soy sauce on it. And now guys, we're just going to wrap this up. Fairly tight. I got another sheet right here. Put this over top. Okay. Now, we're going to take this out, put it right back on the smoker, and let it go probably for another at least 4 hours. And this time I'm going to put a probe in it to monitor the temperature. And what I'm looking for is about 203 degrees. When it gets up over 200 to about 202, 203, I'll go out and start probing it for tenderness and see how close it is to being done. So let's go out and put it back on the smoker. Okay. Get this back on the smoker. Lay it down right back in the middle. Get this out of here, we won't need that. Not going to take any more smoke now. Now I'm going to take my probe. Comes right through the side of the grill here. If I get my gloves to work, here we go. And I am going to put this probe right down from the point into the flat, right there. You don't want to make sure you don't go all the way down through. You want it right in the middle of the meat so you get a good temperature. So there we go. We got it back in the grill. Pellet smoker still hanging in there about 240, 250. We'll just let that ride until it gets done. And we'll see in a few hours when we test it for tenderness. All right, guys. It's raining like crazy outside, so that's why I didn't do this as I was taking it off the grill. But my temperature got up to where I wanted it, hit about 203, 205. And I wanted to show you, when you put your probe in to check, you want no resistance. That feels like, as soon as you break through that foil and get to the meat, oh, it's just soft, it feels like butter. That's how you know that it's tender and it's ready to come off. There's no resistance. So I wanted to show you guys that to make sure. That's how you want to test your brisket to see if it's completely done. Not necessarily go on temperature, but to go on the tenderness of it. Now, we brought it in. And the biggest tip, guys, when you do a brisket, it has to rest. All those juices and all the stuff that was inside, all that fat that rendered, when you're smoking it, it comes out to the surface. And as you rest it, it will all soak back in and it'll be nice and juicy. And you don't want to do 10 hours of smoking to come in here and cut it all up and all that juice run out and be lost. And hey, you'll have a dry, leathery piece of brisket. So a lot of people put them in a cooler, wrapped in a towel. I'm going to put a fresh piece of aluminum foil to cover up these holes. And I just set it in my oven with the oven off. And that lets it rest. That does a good job, I've always found. So I'm going to let it rest for at least an hour, hour and a half. And then we will slice into it and see what we got. All right, guys. It's now the moment we've been waiting on. I'll let it rest for a couple hours, or about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. This over here. Let's unwrap this thing. See what we got. A lot of juice. A lot of juice in there. So we can see what this looks like. It's hard to get that full of these gloves, but I'm sure we'll manage. Oh yeah. Check that out, guys. Still got steam rising off of it. Got good juice in the bottom of it. Alright. Make a little room and transfer this over on the... Yeah, man. Okay. See that right there? Now that's jiggly and soft. That's what you're wanting. Yeah. It looks good. Let's see if it tastes good. Put my glove right there so we don't make a mess. Right. See our grain of our flat's running this way. So we're going to go to this corner right here. Cut some of that off. Oh boy. Look at the juice running out of that. Still got, see the way that fat preserves the juice? See that fat right in there? Slice that off a little bit. Well, you can see the red right here in the smoke ring. I think my little trick with the charcoal and the hickory smoke in my little smoker box worked. But that looks really good, guys. Look here at that. Got juice running down on it. Cut another slice or two and we'll have to get in there for a bite. Man, look at that juice. All right. Now, let's get this glove off. I can't get with my gloves on. There you go. Folds over just like you want it. Steam coming off of it. Pull test, you pull it. Springs right back. Now for the test I've been waiting on. Oh boy. Guys, learn how to do a brisket is an amazing thing. Because honestly, it's probably the toughest cut off of a beef. But if it's cooked real slow, you can take your time, it can be one of the tenderest and most flavorful cuts. And this right here, that is good. The fat is like butter. Just so soft. That fat is just like butter on it. So, get out there and give this a try, guys. I know briskets can be intimidating. I've been intimidated by them for a while. I've done a few now. And starting to get it. It takes years to develop this into an art, to get as good at it as some of the pros are. But guys, you got to get out there and get started and give it a try. Now this beef, this homegrown beef, this is amazing. The texture, the taste, it is so good. That rub, you can taste that rub on it. So give this video a like. Keep on watching. Stay tuned to my channel for more videos. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. And just remember, guys, stay with it and keep on grilling.